What's going on, guys? Gomes here back again on another MLB The Show 19 Diamond Dynasty video. Now, a lot of people have been asking me recently, Gomes, how the hell are you funding all of these pack openings? How are you getting so many stubs? And today I want to go ahead and tell you guys how I have been making stubs recently and how I'm able to, keep my stubs up. So quickly before we get into this, if you guys could leave a like down below, definitely would help and appreciate that. Subscribe if you guys are new. Thank you guys so much for the incredible support. All of MLB 19, super excited to get on to the next chapter here, but let's get right into it. So first couple things that I want you guys to understand. So as far as me making stubs, usually it is something that I can do repeatedly. There are tons of ways, and I've talked about them in the past, like through collections there's ways to make stubs, but those are kind of one-time ordeals. I usually like to have ways that I can grow my stubs organically and I'm able to keep on pushing and keep on making stubs. So with that being said, it is pretty much flipping cards once again. Personally, I do think that there is pretty good value within these exchanges, but personally, I think there is not a 100% profit bag guaranteed like there was last year, like with the bronze hat method. And what I've been doing recently has basically just been flipping this particular set, and this is how I would recommend that you guys set it up, and then I'll give you guys more tips on how to go ahead and go forward through it. So you're going to want to sort by live series. I find live series cards are usually the ones that go the quickest. I've experimented with legends and flashbacks in the past, and if you think about pulling packs, which flipping cards in a sense this year is so much enhanced from previous years, because when you open a pack you don't actually have to go back and list it. You can just hit the sell right away, and that's why flipping cards is so OP this year and why I enjoy it so much. So you're gonna want to sort by live series, and team doesn't matter. We're pretty much only going to go with minimum overall over to 80 and then max overall at 84. So we are going to talk about flipping live series golds, and I have some new tips that I want to bring ahead and go for you guys in this one. So something that I really recommend is there is 6 pages. Do not just look at trying to flip a DJ LeMahieu, because you might see 600 stubs between 4,000 and 3,400, and you might think, damn, that's pretty good. But if you think about it, let's say if I went 1 stub under, I'm gonna make a little over 100 stubs, which isn't bad, but sometimes they don't sell all that well, just because they do go for a little bit more. And most people buying DJ LeMahieu at this point are buying him for him to go diamond, and a lot of times you're gonna see people put in orders for that. So I find those aren't necessarily the greatest to go for. These are gems. This is a hot insider trading tip. Go for the 80 overalls. Go for the 81 overalls, particularly guys like Gary Sanchez. He's always so good, because if I were to put in a buy order, I usually do around 15 to 20 stubs over. Let's say if I get him, and when I do get him for 1,020, I'll be able to sell him for 1 stub under, and that's making about 150. And these sell really, really fast. And the best thing about them is because they have pretty little competition. A lot of people trying to flip, they're going to go towards the top. They don't feel like going all the way and scrolling over, so they're going to stick with guys like these. And that could be good, but it also could be bad. So there's stuff that you have to think about with that. Another thing is always remember the 10% tax. Once you get more experienced, and I've talked about this before, you're going to get a lot better at it. Basically, DJ LeMahieu is perfect because he's right rounded off at 4,000. A 10% tax would be 400 stubs, so you're going to be making 3,600. I don't even know why I had to go back and do that calculation before, probably because I'm an idiot, but yeah, 3,600, and you're easily going to be able to see. So just think of 10% basically. Look at Max Kepler right here going for 1,268. Just take out the 1,000 and you guys know what I'm talking about. Just 10% of that, and that is what you're going to find. And if you can't do the math, if you struggle doing math like me, you can just go ahead and do this, and you're going to see how much you're going to make after taxes that way. And it's a pretty easy way to go forward as you guys are flipping. Something that I would really recommend is build up a stub bank first. That is going to help you out so much, because we have 50 available slots that we are able to have in buy orders. And for me, this goes really nice and it goes really quick. So usually I prefer to do this at the nighttime. I always talk about the best time, the highly active time of MLB The Show is usually around like pretty much 6 at night Eastern time and past, up until, maybe like 11 Eastern time. Those are like the hot times, because previously, especially now that, a lot of people are getting back into school and will so more in the future, being August 24th. I know like the kids around me go to school in about 2 weeks, and then, people have work during the day, or a lot of people, their work day consists of being at work throughout the day, so there's not as high of traffic on there, so it's going to be a lot easier to move and flip cards at those high peak times. So that's what I would recommend. And really all you do, this is so mindless. This is kind of like the 2-controller X tapping that we had for the 6th inning program, helping you guys out with program stores. It's pretty simple. I don't really have to pay it much mind at all. I just kind of get fixated into a zone, and I'm just watching a YouTube video, a podcast, a Netflix show, whatever it might be, and I'm able to just keep on flipping. Of course, make sure that on your notifications you do have marketplace transactions on. I have no other use for these notifications except for marketplace transactions, because that's going to tell you when you have another available, and it really goes really fast and really quick. It's going to be a little bit hard. I'll try to start doing it a little bit. Usually I don't talk during it, but it is something that, okay, there we got Gary Sanchez, that's good. But yeah, usually I have all 50 of my orders filled out, and that's what I mean. It's good to have a lot of stubs, so figure have at least like 50k or something like that, and just keep on going. You guys will notice there are certain guys that go better than others. They just have better gaps, and for example, I know like Joey Votto is always a great one. He has like a 500 stub gap right here. Anthony Rizzo is usually decent. Turner's all right. I know Edwin Diaz is always great for that as well. And it's really just going through and seeing who has a admirable gap, who has a good stub gap, who you can make a lot of profit on, is really what you're going for. So, and like I said, make sure, don't just leave these in the dust. Make sure to consider these lower overalls as well, because they are going to have a lot there. So what you, like I said, just go through that. Usually I do it for like an hour every night or so. Some nights I don't do it because I don't get around to it. By all means, it's not fun, but it is pretty easy. I'm finding within an hour I can make close to 50k. I can make just about 50,000 within an hour doing this at those high peak, high performance times, and having enough stubs to be able to maintain and control 50 stub orders. And the reason for that is because I'm one of the people, and this is something that you guys are going to notice, I won't leave buy orders any longer than like 4 minutes usually. If they're not going to buy, if nobody's going to bite on them, I'm going to put them right back up. So usually I just look and see, okay, it's 210 right here, and let's say 4 minutes, 5 minutes have passed. I would take out that order and put it back in as a buy order. As far as selling goes, I usually don't touch those. I wait for those to sell, and overnight I find the bulk of them usually do sell, some don't, just because they have gone down in price a little bit. And then it's really up to you. If it's a guy who might go diamond, like if you have a DJ LeMahieu overnight that didn't sell, maybe you want to hold off, because he's probably going to be going for probably close to 5,000, you figure, for the next roster update. So that's something to think about as well. Don't just, like settle though. That's something very important. And these guys in particular, I forgot to say, Felipe Vasquez and Andrew Miller. I think Andrew Miller still has a really good gap. It's still decent. When he was in 83, it was a lot better. But Felipe Vasquez always has an insane one. I have no idea why. Blake Snell's my bread and butter, to be honest. I flip so many Blake Snells. It's ridiculous. You guys see, I have over 800 orders at this point. I do this quite a lot, quite extensively. And I think it is a great way to make stubs. And hopefully you guys are going to start doing it as well. I am aware that it's probably going to make it a little bit more highly trafficked, you guys get the point. I cannot speak at this point, but there's going to be a lot more people doing this. It doesn't mean that it is not going to be successful, because it's not really going to change prices. It just means there's going to be more people on there, and that's why I say, if you make sure and go into your orders every couple minutes, every 4 or 5 minutes, to see this isn't selling, go back and put in a new order. And if you have 50 others, you are going to be plenty busy. Like, you know, you're not able to focus too much. I was talking about like watching a show. You know, it's more so listening. I'm not watching it too extensively. But if you have those pop-up notifications in the right-hand corner of your screen, you're going to be able to see. And then if you see, oh, sell order, what I would do, let's say if, let's just say Gary Sanchez sold to me right now. As soon as I see that, I'm going over to Gary Sanchez. And once you do this, you're going to be able to recognize where all these guys are, like Gary Sanchez. You're going to recognize, okay, he's like halfway down the 5th page and you don't even have to think about it, or look for it rather. And once that sells, I would just put another buy order up. So actually I'm going to do the same thing with Blake Snell right now. So as soon as he sells, I'm going ahead and putting another buy order for him. And then I'm going to look for other guys, you know, as long as they have a 150 plus stub gap after taxes. I think that is worth your time. Anything less, I wouldn't say so, which is why I really recommend that you guys get down like how much the tax affects these higher overall cards that go for more, and realize that just because this is 600, it's only a 150 stub gap, and if this was like a 400 stub gap, you wouldn't really be making any profit at all. And that's something that I have dealt with in the past, and you know, I just kind of recognize that and start going for those, because I don't even have to look. I know it's not going to be worth my time to flip for 50 stubs when I could be flipping for 150, 200, or even more if you look at some of these other guys. So it's really all developing patterns, like I said, and really just controlling it. You know, you can do this whenever. You can do it on your phone. On the Show Nation is something I talked about previously. You are able to do that. It is slower. It's not as fast as on here, but it is viable if you're at work, if you have downtime, if you have nothing else going on and you just want to make some stubs. For whatever reason it may be, that is another option for you. So let me know down below in the comments section if this is something you guys are going to try. You guys have been asking and wondering how I've been making my stubs recently. I'm not buying my stubs. I am making my stubs on this game just because it's so damn easy. At the beginning of the year, I thought it was a little bit harder because we didn't have the souvenirs last year, but it's even easier. I can make more stubs in faster and shorter amount of time. So hopefully with these tips, you are going to be able to become a stub millionaire pretty fast. And maybe if you guys want to, you know, go for the voucher, if you guys want to try to complete some collections, go for Honus, maybe it's going to help you out. So if you guys did enjoy this one, make sure to leave a like down below. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day. There goes some Saudi.
Love is love and hate is hate. To die is an awesome adventure and I can hardly wait. Earth is a prison, I need a great escape. You know I'm in my zone when I'm up in outer space. You know I'm in my zone when I'm up in outer space. You know I'm in my zone when I'm up in outer space. You know I'm in my zone. You know I'm in my zone. I took a bite of the glory.